Hey YouTube, this is the Art of Prepping. So what are some 10 things you can do with a Bic round pen? This is the Bic round stick, and this one in particular is just something you can get pretty much anywhere. I mean, at Walmart, office supplies, stores. I mean, you can get them anywhere from 3 cents to 10 cents depending on what retailer and how many you buy at one time. And so they're so common, I got to thinking, this would be a good exercise for everyone to think about what things you could come up with to use with this pen. Now, I'm not going to actually demo these different ideas. We're just going to talk about them. But if you want to do a response video to demo some of these or anything else you can think of, because I'm sure there's hundreds of other uses, feel free to do so. Or at the very minimum, just leave a comment of other ideas. That would be appreciated. And so, 10 things. And I do have one bonus idea. Now, the first thing is obviously a writing tool. And we think about this, obviously, that's why I put a little notepad back here. It's obviously, this is what it's designed for. And pretty much the only thing it's designed for is to write or to make marks. But you know, when we think about this, you can take notes with it. You can, you know, write down messages to other people, to leave it like on someone's door or under a windshield wiper on the vehicle. You can also use this to as a drawing implement to make maps or diagrams of important details of whatever you're doing. So that's the first thing. It's a writing tool. Number two, it could be used as a straw. As we can see here, there's an end cap on this device here that just plugs the actual this tube. And on the other side, it has, of course, the end where the actual the pen tip is. And so those can be actually removed. You can actually just pull them out. And I mean, it takes a little bit of force, but especially if you have a blade of a pocket knife or a multi-tool, you can shimmy that in, like the tool end on the actual portion here it connects, and you can kind of pry them apart. And so that you could actually make that a straw just by hollowing it out and taking out the end caps. And so you could use the straw to siphon water out of like puddles and ponds, or harder reach places. Maybe the only water source is in a tree stump and you can't reach it, but your straw could. You could also maybe have access to honey, and maybe it's hard to get in there safely. Maybe you can actually extract it with your straw. So that's one item, is the straw. Number three would be a fire igniter. And you're like, well, how would that work? Well, you take it and in the straw configuration, after you strip down the ends and get rid of the ink and the tip and the back plug, and you can actually use it to blow at the source of the base of your coals or ambers as an oxygen tube to force more oxygen in one area to higher concentration of oxygen to increase the chances of your fire getting going. So you're stoking the fire. So that's one way. Number four is a capsule. So not only can you basically just use the inside portion, but it's simply done by taking off this end piece and the other piece and just taking the ink out. Just taking the ink little tube, and now you have this hollowed out chamber inside. And so you could actually replug it after you put whatever you want in there. It could be cash or and maybe a very important document or something that's small that you can roll up and put in there. It could be just medicines or tablets, whatever. You could even make a makeshift fishing kit out of this. You'd have to have some really small hooks. You may even have to put the hooks on the outside and just tape it. But you could get fishing lines, sinkers, and all kinds of things in there. Maybe even some artificial bait. So as a capsule. Number five is a mark maker. Now, we're probably thinking, well, we just talked about that as a writing tool. Well, in this particular way, you can actually pop this little end cap here, this plug, and get access to the tube of ink. Now, when you do that, you take like your pocket knife, and you can cut that ink tube open and take maybe like the end of, it could be like the end of a stick, or even like maybe the ink cap or whatever, and dip it into that particular opened up and spliced open ink tube. And so you can dab it, and it's like an ink, you know, reserve or well. And you could take that and make broader strokes and marks to mark maybe the side of a building or on some type of material that you want to make a mark on to signal, for example. So that could be a better way. But you're going to, of course, pretty much compromise all your ink. But that's one way to make larger marks. Number 6 is a blow dart tube. It's really too small, I think, to actually make a full-on blow dart gun. Unless, though, you had several of these, maybe like 4, 5, or even 6 of these, and just gutted them out so it's just a tube. And then you could take like a Gorilla Tape or whatever really strong tape you had and reinforce, connect the tubes on the ends and make an extended tube, which could make an actual blow dart gun. But just by itself, though, you probably have just a blow dart tube. I'm not sure how much force it would really give you, but maybe for very, very small animals and critters. I'm not even so sure, maybe a chipmunk, but maybe just for frogs, for example. If you had improvised darts, maybe you could catch things up to a frog. That could be something to try. Number 7 would be a signal kite spool. And so how this would work is that you take your string from your kite, and you wouldn't have to take anything apart at all. You could just wrap around the actual stem or the handle here, the actual body of the pin, and wrap it so you actually have a handle for your kite. And so that's one option. Number 8 would be a paracord bank line, or you could even put fishing line around this to make it pretty much a spool once again. And so you could wrap your cording or any type of line. It would probably not be so good for like heavy like weight or really thick rope because it would take up a lot of room. But especially if you have just typical paracord and bank line, and even the smaller or even larger bank line, you could probably get quite a bit on here. So you could organize your cording that way. Number 9 is your tape. It'd be like a tape holder or dispenser. And once again, you could take like your duct tape or Gorilla Tape, even like electric tape, and actually, just and wind it around. And you could put as much as you want on there. Obviously, just different portions. You could have different types of tapes up and down here. And so you could even keep the pen as a pen configuration, so it still works as a writing tool. But you may just have tape up and down. And so you could even help improve the grip when you write. But you'll have tape. Number 10 is a frog gig. Now this is kind of tricky, but if you take like 3, 4, or 5 of these pins and you bind them together, it could be just with a stick and Gorilla Tape for all that matter, but you could actually make like a triangle configuration or a fork configuration of 3, 4, 5 of them. And with the top off, if you had enough force, the tip could lance into a frog, or at least pin the frog down, or whatever you're gigging. And it could be a makeshift a frog. It could be a salamander. It could be other types of maybe even like small fish you could possibly catch as a gig. It could also be used as a dart itself, with the cap off. Maybe you'd have to modify the end or cut it down more, quite a bit more possibly just for the tip part here. But you could possibly, if you had a larger tube, maybe it was a bamboo shoot or something and it was hollowed out, maybe you could use this as a dart. And maybe in dire emergencies, it could be an improvised light-duty spear tip. Once again, you'd probably just cut off maybe like the first half or more. Maybe just had the first third with the cap off and cut this portion off and take out the ink cartridge and maybe reinforce the tube by putting a piece of maybe like a stick or something in there to make it more taut and less flexible. And just using the tip could easily be something as a spear tip. It wouldn't be really, really strong, but it is possible it could penetrate maybe small animals. And lastly, as a bonus use for this big pen, it is going to be to use as a float. And so what I've tried it myself. It's the actual top of the pen. And so what you can see here on the end, it's pretty much like almost hollowed out. It's just kind of like it's been the way, I guess it's been molded as a way that it pretty much has like this, there's a few little things holding this end from actually being completely hollow. And so you can just take your pocket knife or even the end of your pen, if you go on the outside and push in, and you can pop that out. This little panel here is all it really is. And what you can do from there is use that opening on both sides to run through your fishing line and you can put, I'd say probably at least 3 to 5 of these together so it'd be more functional. Because when I tried one in the water, it floated, but it was actually just like a hair under the actual water line. But if you had more, it would hold more weight. And so you could put some of these together and make a little bobber for your fishing kit if you had nothing else. Of course, it's going to be kind of hard to see, so you may want to maybe add something else with a little bit of color on this. And so these are just ideas. There's probably lots more. And if you have some really cool ideas to do what you could do with a big round stick, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the cool ideas that I get. And as always, hope everyone's well. And if you have big round sticks and if you had modified versions of them, I would love to see them in a video response or pictures. So feel free to link me, back my video from your video. Just let me know you did the video response in the comment section, and we could have a few, linking to each other and back and forths in terms of sharing information. But thanks a lot. I'll catch you soon.